So I want you to picture a guy in Dallas, Texas.
Right.
It's 2004,
Okay, yeah, I'm picturing it.
and he's standing in this absolutely filthy, like 1,200 square foot garage, and there's no air conditioning.
Oh, wow. In
Yeah,
Dallas.
in the dead of a Texas summer. So it's brutal. There's no heat for the winter, and literally there is zero running water in this place.
That sounds miserable, honestly.
It really is. The only things he actually has going for him are, well, a massive wad of cash stuffed in his pocket and this like manic, almost completely unreasonable obsession with flipping vintage cars.
Right, just total obsession.
Exactly. So hold that image in your head. Now, cut to a completely different universe.
Okay.
We are in San Sebastián de los Reyes, Spain, present day.
Quite a jump.
It is. And there's a digital creator sitting in a pitch black studio. He is blasting this raw 150 beat per minute industrial techno music.
Okay, so total sensory overload.
Oh, absolutely. And at the exact same time, on the exact same screens in this dark room, he is mapping out these incredibly complex enterprise-level cybersecurity threats.
Wow. I mean, it is about as massive of a juxtaposition as you can possibly get.
Totally.
You've got rust and motor oil and just gross Texas heat on one side. And then on the other, you have like server logs, underground rave culture, and digital defense architecture.
It sounds totally insane when you say it out loud like that, but here is the crazy part.
What's that?
The guy covered in motor oil in 2004 essentially wrote the exact step-by-step business plan for the guy producing techno in Spain today.
Which is just wild to think about.
It really is. So today, we're stealing that playbook. Welcome to the deep dive, everyone. Our mission today is to decode this fascinating blueprint for building a digital empire.
Yeah, and we are diving into a concept called three brands, one roof.
Yes. We're going to break down how Richard Rawlings took that miserable little garage and turned Gas Monkey into a massive global empire. And then we're going to see how a modern digital creator, who, by the way, operates under 3 different names, Mickey Strut, Cyberknight Mike, and Schmidtstall, how he is using that exact same architectural blueprint to build his own world.
And doing it long before he ever asked the boardroom for permission, which is key.
Exactly. Building the world first.
It really is a phenomenal blueprint, because it completely dismantles the way we are, like traditionally taught to build a business or a personal brand in the digital age.
How so?
Well, most people think you have to pick one lane.
Right.
You are either the straight-laced corporate professional or you are the gritty underground artist. You can't be both.
Right, because that would confuse the algorithm or whatever.
Exactly. But this model proves that not only can you be both, but that combining them correctly is actually the secret to building an empire.
The secret sauce.
Yeah. But to really grasp how this creator in Spain is pulling this off, we kind of have to look at the absolute foundation of the Gas Monkey story first.
Okay, let's do it.
Because there is a massive, just a huge misconception about Richard Rawlings that we really need to clear up right away.
Right, because if you just watch reality TV, you sort of just assume the Hollywood fairy tale, don't you?
You really do.
You assume Rawlings was just this loud, charismatic mechanic turning wrenches in Dallas, and, some hotshot TV producer just walked into his shop one day, handed him $1 million, and said, kid, I'm going to make you a star.
Yeah, exactly. Which couldn't be further from the truth.
Really?
Oh, yeah. The reality is rooted in a highly calculated multi-year grind. I mean, if you look at his actual background, Rawlings was this kid from Fort Worth who just lived and breathed cars.
Since he was young.
Oh, since he was a toddler. He was going to auto shows with his dad, bought his first car at 14, and was actively flipping cars for profit before he even legally had a driver's license.
Wow, so the hustle was always there.
It was. But here's the thing. He didn't just open a garage the second he became an adult. He works what you might call, straight life jobs for years.
Really? Like what?
He was a police officer. He was a firefighter. He was a paramedic.
Wait, Richard Rawlings was a paramedic?
Yeah. He was doing the grueling, necessary day-to-day work to fund his actual obsession.
Okay, that changes the picture completely.
Right. But the real linchpin here, like the strategic move that made the entire Gas Monkey empire possible, is a company called Lincoln Press.
Lincoln Press. Okay, talk to me about Lincoln Press.
Yes. So Lincoln Press is really the unsung hero of this entire business model. In 1999, Rawlings started a printing and advertising company in Dallas.
A printing company? That is so boring.
Exactly. He built it up from absolute scratch. For 5 years, he ran this incredibly standard B2B, quote-unquote, boring business.
Printing flyers and business cards and stuff.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
And he grew it, he made it highly profitable, and then in 2004 he sold it.
Okay, so he cashed out.
He cashed out. But he didn't sell it to, like, go buy a yacht and retire to a beach somewhere. He liquidated that company to entirely 100% self-fund the creation of Gas Monkey Garage.
Ah. And we really need to pause on why that is so strategically vital for anyone listening right now.
It's everything.
Why does it matter that he funded it with a boring print shop instead of just, taking out a massive small business loan or finding some rich angel investor who loved classic cars?
It matters because of one word, and that word is leverage.
Leverage.
Yeah. Think about it. When you take outside capital to start your dream project, whether that's from a bank, a venture capitalist, or a television network, you immediately, in that exact second, compromise your vision.
Because now you answer to them.
Exactly. You have sold a piece of your autonomy. If a TV network had funded Gas Monkey from day one, they would have dictated everything. The name, the logo, the types of cars they built, the personalities they hired on the floor.
They would have focus grouped it to death.
They would have engineered it to fit a very specific, safe corporate demographic. But by funding it himself with that Lincoln Press money, Rawlings didn't have to pitch a concept to executives and beg for permission.
He just did it.
He just built the exact, raw, completely unfiltered garage he wanted in his head.
Which means he owned the intellectual property entirely. Like, if he wanted to paint a car slime green and sell it at a massive loss just because he thought it was a funny bit, no investor could jump in and stop him.
Exactly. Total control.
Which honestly maps so perfectly to our digital creator in Spain.
It really does.
Let's look at Mickey's ecosystem for a second. Under the handle Mickey Strut, he produces content. He has this massive archive of over 100 podcast episodes.
Yeah, a lot of content.
But more importantly, he does day-to-day client promo work. He does photography, he does videography, he manages social media accounts for other people's brands.
And that client work, that daily grind of editing corporate videos for a local business or shooting headshots,
Yeah.
that is Mickey's Lincoln Press.
Oh, I see. It's the engine. It's the thing that's actually paying the rent and keeping the lights on.
And it is the mechanism that funds his absolute true passion project, which is Schmidstall.
Okay, yeah, let's introduce Schmidstall into the mix here, because this is where the art comes in.
The pure art.
Right. Schmidstall is Mickey's underground 150 BPM industrial techno project.
Yeah.
And this isn't just a casual weekend hobby. This is a fully realized, dark, aggressive musical world he is actively trying to build.
And if you look at the music industry today, like if Mickey took Schmidstall to a traditional record label right now and asked for funding, what do you think would happen?
They would laugh him out of the room, or they'd change everything.
Exactly. The label would say, look, Mickey, this is way too niche. It's too heavy. We need to add some pop vocals. We need to slow the tempo down to 120 BPM so it plays in normal clubs. And hey, we need you to do some TikTok dances.
Right, they would completely sanitize the art to guarantee a return on their investment.
Exactly. But because Mickey is using his content creation skills, his Lincoln Press,
Yeah.
to self-fund the music gets to remain pure. It stays heavy.
See, I hear that, and on paper, part of me thinks it's brilliant. But I want to push back a little bit on the actual reality of doing this.
Okay, go for it.
Because the cultural narrative we're fed constantly, like on LinkedIn, on business podcasts, all over Instagram, is this highly romanticized idea of burning the boats.
Oh, yeah. The hustle culture stuff.
Exactly. We are told that if you really, truly believe in your dream, you have to quit your day job tomorrow, you have to jump in with both feet, take massive risks, and sleep on a friend's couch.
Right.
So isn't spending years running a completely separate client services business just a massive detour? Like, doesn't editing someone else's corporate video distract you from making your techno?
It's a really fair question, and I get why people think that.
Yeah.
But honestly, that burn the boats advice is incredibly dangerous.
You think so?
Oh, absolutely. And it's mostly peddled by influencers who are just trying to sell you their courses on how to be successful.
That's a good point.
Jumping in with both feet without a solid capital foundation, it almost always leads directly to desperation.
And desperation makes terrible business decisions.
Exactly. When you are desperate to pay rent, you take bad gigs, you compromise your brand, you release a track you actually hate, just because you hope it goes viral and pays for your groceries that week.
You start chasing the algorithm instead of your vision.
Precisely. What Rawlings exercised with Lincoln Press and what Mickey is exercising with his promo work is the leverage of patience.
The leverage of patience. I really like that phrase.
Right. You build the financial fortress first so that when you finally launch the passion project, it is completely bulletproof.
That is a great way to frame it. You're laying this massive concrete foundation in total darkness so that when you finally flip the lights on, there is an entire unshakable building already standing there.
Precisely. Which actually leads us perfectly to the next phase of the gas monkey evolution.
Okay, where are we going next?
Well, if Lincoln Press was the financial engine that afforded him that patience, what exactly was he building in the dark during all those years?
Right, let's talk about the physical garage itself and what we are going to call the 8-year rejection tour. Let's go back to that miserable 1,200 square foot shop in Northwest Dallas in 2004.
Okay, so it is crucial to understand here that Rawlings didn't open that specific shop just to be a successful local mechanic.
He wasn't just trying to fix his neighbor's brakes.
Exactly. He wasn't content with just fixing up old Chevys for guys down the street. He partnered up with this brilliant, very quiet young mechanic named Aaron Kaufman, and they started building these wild cars.
Right.
But Rawlings was always looking at the broader media landscape. He saw the explosion of reality shows at the time, like American Chopper with the Tootle Family and Jesse James with Monster Garage.
Oh, yeah. Those shows were huge in the early 2000s.
Massive. And Rawlings wanted that. He didn't just want a garage. He wanted a globally recognized media brand.
But he also realized something really interesting about those existing shows, right? They had a massive ceiling on their audience.
Right, you mean?
Well, the programming at the time was hyper-technical. It was all about torque specs and gear ratios and these egotistical, aggressive guys just throwing wrenches at each other.
Very macho.
Very. And Rawlings noticed that whenever he turned those shows on in his own living room, his wife and his daughter would immediately get up and leave the room. They had zero interest.
See, that is such a critical observation for an entrepreneur to make.
Right.
He realized that if he built a brand that only appealed to hardcore car guys, he was fighting for this tiny, tiny sliver of a niche pie.
He'd just be a knockoff Jesse James.
Exactly. So he asked himself a really fundamental question. How do I engineer a car show that my wife and my daughter actually want to sit on the couch and watch with me?
And his answer to that was drama. He completely pivoted the entire concept away from the actual metal and moved it toward the human element.
Which is brilliant.
People might not care about an engine block, but they care about the thrill of a treasure hunt.
Well, everybody loves a treasure hunt.
Exactly. So he pitched a very specific format. Here it is. He and Aaron go out into the middle of nowhere. They find a forgotten, rusting, classic car hidden in a barn.
The discovery phase.
Right. Then they negotiate for it with cold, hard cash right there on the spot, which creates immediate financial tension.
Will they get the deal or not?
Exactly. Then they haul it back to the shop, and they have this impossible ticking clock deadline to restore the whole thing before an auction.
It was a stroke of genius. Because if you really look at it, it wasn't actually a car show.
No.
No, it was a business show. It was a negotiation show. It was a high-stakes drama that just happened to use old cars as props.
Wow. Yeah, that's entirely true.
He completely understood the psychology of his broader audience. And because he had this exact vision for a television show, he literally built Gas Monkey Garage to function as a TV set from the very first day.
Wait, really? The actual physical space?
Yes. The aesthetic, the layout of the tools, the personalities of the guys he hired on the floor, it was all designed specifically for the camera.
Okay, but here's the part of the story that absolutely blows my mind every time I hear it.
The pitching phase.
Yes. He had this brilliant concept. He had the physical location built out. He had his foil and Aaron Kaufman. It's ready to go. But for 8 entire years, nobody cared.
8 years. 96 months of rejection.
That is insane.
He was flying and driving out to Los Angeles constantly. He was spending his own money from Lincoln Press to shoot these amateur sizzle reels.
Just hustling.
He was walking into literally any production company or network that would take a meeting with him and pitching this drama-focused car show, and they all told him no.
Every single one.
Every single one. For 8 years.
Think about the psychological resilience that takes. I mean, honestly, for anyone listening, think about how you feel when a project you work on for just a month flops.
It's devastating.
It is. Most people would have quit after year 2 of hearing no from Hollywood. They would have just accepted their lot in life, settled down, and been perfectly happy being the best local hot rod shop in Dallas.
But he flat out refused to accept that reality. While Los Angeles was saying no, he was back in Dallas grinding.
Still building the lore.
Exactly. He was gaining notoriety in the underground racing scene. Like, there's that famous story of him trying to break the Cannonball Run record.
Yeah, driving
Sam-
across the country in a modified Ferrari.
Right. He was constantly generating his own lore. He just kept living the reality of the TV show he was pitching, even without any cameras rolling.
And eventually, that absolute stubborn refusal to quit just wore the industry down.
It did.
In 2011, Pilgrim Studios, which, by the way, was the powerhouse production company behind American Chopper, they finally took a flyer on him.
They saw potential.
Discovery Channel greenlit the concept, and the show, Fast and Loud, premiered in 2012, and it instantly became this massive global hit.
And it all goes back to that concept of leverage we talked about.
How so?
It's like he didn't just write a paper script, hand it to a studio executive, and beg for the money to hire actors and build fake sets.
Right.
He used his own money to build the actual set. He hired the crew himself. He started shooting the movie himself.
Yeah.
By the time he actually invited the studio in, all they had to do was distribute it.
It was a turnkey operation for them.
Exactly. The brand was battle-tested. The truth is, the network needed the authenticity. He had spent 8 years building far more than he needed their initial seed money.
That is so powerful. Okay, so if we take that 8-year rejection tour, that grueling, agonizing period of building in the dark while literally nobody is watching, how does that map onto Mickey in Spain right now?
Well,
Because Mickey doesn't have a physical garage in Dallas.
no, Mickey doesn't have a physical garage.
Yeah.
But he has something equally valuable in the digital age.
What's that?
He has an archive.
Ah, the podcasts.
Exactly. We mentioned earlier that he has produced over 100 podcast episodes under the Mickey Strip brand.
Which is a ton of work.
It is. Now, if you are a creator right in the middle of the grind, looking at an archive of 100 old episodes can feel incredibly heavy.
Oh, absolutely. It can feel like a graveyard of failed ideas.
Right.
It's like you look back at episode 4 where your microphone cut out halfway through, or episode 32 that got exactly 11 listens, and mostly from your mom.
Yep, we've all been there.
It can feel like a documented history of you just speaking into a void and failing to gain any traction.
But the strategic shift here, and this is the core lesson we pull from Rawlings' 8 Years in the Wilderness, is that you have to reframe that archive entirely.
Okay, reframe it how?
Those 100 podcasts are not a history of failure.
No.
No.
Yeah.
They are your sizzle reel. They are the absolute, undeniable proof of a multi-year grind.
Wow. That reframing changes everything.
It really does.
Yeah.
Because it proves to any future partner or client or audience member that he has the reps.
He's put in the time.
Right. He's in some novice who bought a USB microphone on Amazon last Tuesday and decided he was a thought leader.
All right. He's not a tourist.
Exactly. He is a seasoned producer who put in the agonizing, unglamorous work when the cameras were off. It transforms all that dead weight into foundational credibility.
Okay, I love that. So Mickey has the foundation. He has his Lincoln Press funding him. And he has his archive proving his resilience.
He's got the base.
But having a solid foundation doesn't automatically mean you have a functional, scalable business. You can have a great garage or 100 great podcasts and still just be a scattered, confusing mess of content.
Oh, completely.
You need an architecture to organize it all without alienating people. And that brings us to the absolute core of this deep dive today.
The architecture.
Yes, the 3 brands, 1 roof model.
This is where we see the true overarching genius of the Gas Monkey ecosystem and exactly how it translates to the modern digital economy.
Let's break it down.
So Rawlings understood very early on that Fast and Loud, the television show, was never the actual business.
Wait, really? Because the show was massive. I mean, everybody knew that show.
The show was massive, yes. But the TV revenue wasn't the end game.
It wasn't.
No. The television show was essentially just a highly entertaining hour-long commercial that aired globally every single week.
Oh, wow. A commercial for what?
For the real business was a structured ecosystem that lived underneath the TV show. He built a triangle.
Okay, let's map out this triangle for the listener. First point of the triangle, you have the core garage.
Right.
The 1,200 square feet of grit, rust, and authenticity. That was the factory floor where the actual hard work was done.
Yes. Second point of the triangle, you have the founder persona.
Richard himself.
Exactly. Richard Rawlings himself, the loud, cash-carrying, beer-drinking hustler who acts as the face of the brand. He is the mascot and the guide.
And the third point, and this is the most crucial part, you have the monetizable lifestyle brands.
This is where the money is.
Right. This is the Gas Monkey Bar and Grill. It's the live music venues he opened up. It's the branded energy drinks, the garage beer, the literally millions of dollars in T-shirt and apparel sales.
And all of it, all three of those points were operating under one unified, incredibly sticky brand identity.
That is so smart. He wasn't monetizing the TV views directly. He was monetizing the lifestyle that the views represented.
Exactly. So let's take that exact physical triangle from Dallas and map it directly onto Mickey's digital world in Spain, because this is the blueprint for the modern creator.
All right, let's do it. Let's open door number 1, the garage.
Okay, so in Mickey's ecosystem, the garage is Schmidtstall.
The music.
That's right. This is his 150 BPM industrial techno project. And the architecture here is very, very rigid.
How so?
It cannot just be treated as a casual side gig where he occasionally uploads a DJ mix to SoundCloud. It has to be treated as a physical, atmospheric space. It is specifically described as Berlin bunker industrial techno made in San Sebastián de los Reyes.
So it's not just a genre, it's a world, it's an environment you step into.
Exactly. And just like the literal floor of Gas Monkey Garage, it has to remain sacred.
Meaning what?
Meaning, when Mickey is operating as Schmidtstall, there is no talking on the mic.
Yep.
There's no showing his face to the camera. There are no behind-the-scenes podcast clips mixed in.
It's pure.
It is pure, unadulterated pressure, steel, darkness, and machinery. It is the uncompromised art. It is the authentic factory floor that proves he actually builds things.
Okay, so Schmidtstall is the garage. Door number 2 is the founder.
That is Mickey Stadt.
Right.
This is the Richard Rawlings of the digital operation.
Yeah.
This is the human element, the face, the documentarian. This is the guy who actually holds the camera, does the podcast interviews, and talks directly to the audience.
Right, because at the end of the day, people ultimately connect with people.
They do.
If you just put out faceless industrial techno, it's really hard to build a cult following without a guide to show you around.
Exactly.
Mickey Stadt is the guy sitting in the airport at 4 a.m. or digging through obscure vinyl records looking for audio samples or openly discussing the struggles of building a brand online. He is the bridge that brings the audience into the garage.
Perfect. Which leaves us with door number 3.
The monetizable lifestyle brand.
Exactly. The equivalent of the Gas Monkey Bar and Grill, where the real, scalable money is made. And this is where Mickey's strategy gets incredibly ambitious and honestly, potentially brilliant.
Okay.
Door number 3 is Cybernight Mike.
Okay. We need to stop right here.
Okay.
Because I have been looking at this blueprint, and I really have to challenge this.
Let's hear it.
Cybernight Mike is Mickey's professional consulting and influencer brand on LinkedIn, right? And is focused entirely on B2B cybersecurity and artificial intelligence.
That is correct. It is his enterprise armor brand.
I don't see how this works.
Why not?
We have Schmidtstall, which is this relentless, aggressive Berlin bunker industrial techno.
Wow.
And then we have Cybernight Mike, which is corporate LinkedIn B2B cybersecurity consulting for chief information security officers, CIOs at massive tech companies.
Right.
How on earth do those two things live under the same roof? You are telling me that the guy sweating in an underground rave at 4 a.m. and the executives sitting in a boardroom approving $1 million software budget want the exact same thing.
I am.
Don't these audiences violently clash? Like, it seems crazy.
It's a very natural reaction to have. On paper, it looks like a completely schizophrenic business model.
It really does.
But you are looking at it purely from the perspective of subject matter.
Okay, what should I be looking at?
If you step back and look at the aesthetic and the psychological bridge between these two worlds, it actually makes perfect, terrifying sense.
Okay, sell me on this. Explain the bridge.
All right. I want you to imagine the physical and emotional environment of a high-level cybersecurity professional.
Okay, I'm trying.
Imagine a security operations center, a SOC, at 3 o'clock in the morning. They are working for a global corporation, and they are suddenly under a massive DDoS attack.
Okay, a DDoS attack, which, just for context if you're not in tech, is essentially when hackers flood a network with so much junk traffic that the whole system gets overwhelmed and crashes.
Right. It's digital warfare.
Right.
So imagine that room. The network is going down. Hundreds of thousands of dollars are evaporating by the minute. Alarms are literally going off. Dashboards are flashing red.
Sounds incredibly stressful.
It is an environment of intense, raw pressure. It's defense, it's machinery, it's caffeine, and it's sleepless nights fighting invisible enemies.
Okay, I'm picturing it. High stress, lots of monitors, lots of sweat.
Now, what is the visual and auditory language of that specific emotional experience?
Mm,
It's not smooth jazz, right?
definitely.
It's not corporate elevator music. It is steel gray. It is hazard yellow. It is flashing warning lights and raw, relentless pressure. A SOC under a cyber attack feels exactly like 150 BPM industrial techno.
Whoa.
See it now.
That is sure. Yeah.
Schmitzstall isn't just a random music side project. It is the literal psychological soundtrack to Cybernight Mike's professional world.
That is incredibly counterintuitive, but absolutely
Yeah.
brilliant. You're saying the bridge isn't the technical subject matter at all. It's the adrenaline.
Exactly.
It's the aesthetic of armor and defense.
Precisely. Think back to Dallas. Why was Richard Rawlings able to sell branded energy drinks and feature in National Dodge commercial campaigns?
Because of the brand.
Because his garage didn't just stand for fixing cars, it stood for American muscle and power and rebellion.
Right.
Mickey can sell high-ticket AI security consulting because his entire digital presence, from the heavy techno he produces to the visuals he uses, sounds and looks like digital defense.
Wow.
The CISO dealing with malware threats and the raver sweating in the bunker are experiencing the exact same emotional wavelength.
And when you think about the current state of B2B marketing on LinkedIn, it is so mind-numbingly boring.
It's awful.
If you search for cybersecurity consultants right now, it's 10,000 guys in blue suits using the exact same stock photo of a glowing blue padlock or like a hacker in a hoodie.
They're completely invisible because they're perfectly corporate.
Exactly. But Mickey shows up as the Cyber Knight. He uses his own industrial techno, his Schmitzstall tracks, as the background music for his LinkedIn videos where he breaks down server vulnerabilities.
It's so good.
He visually brands himself with steel gray and hazard yellow. He literally brings the energy of the rave into the boardroom.
And that makes him entirely unforgettable.
Yeah.
You might be a CISO who thinks it's a little strange at first,
Sure.
but when you actually need to hire a security consultant 3 months later, you aren't going to remember the guy with the blue padlock. You are going to remember the Cyber Knight.
But to pull off a bizarre, unique combination like that, your branding has to be incredibly sharp.
Razor sharp.
It has to be loud, it has to be sticky, and according to the Gas Monkey playbook, it actually has to be a little bit flawed.
Yes.
Which leads us to the concept of engineering a character.
This is a phenomenal lesson in human psychology and brand loyalty. Let's look at how Richard Rawlings engineered his public persona for the television show.
Okay.
Because Richard Rawlings, the TV character, is an amplified, highly engineered version of Richard Rawlings, the mechanic.
Let's start with the name itself. Gas Monkey. I mean, it's almost dumb, right?
It was done on purpose.
Really?
Yeah. He loved speed, cars, and gasoline. That gives you the gas. And the monkey added this playful, slightly chaotic, rule-breaking twist. He deliberately didn't name it Dallas Precision Automotive or Rawlings Classic Restorations.
Because those sound like real respectable businesses.
And respectable businesses are easily forgotten. Gas Monkey is slightly absurd, which makes it stick right in your brain.
That makes a lot of sense.
Then look at the visual identity. The logo isn't some sleek, minimalist corporate design. It's a distressed, slightly deranged, aggressive-looking monkey head.
Right, with the tongue out.
Yeah. And the shop itself, particularly in the early seasons, was totally chaotic. There were car parts everywhere, neon signs buzzing, guys yelling over grinders.
And then there is the engineering of Rawlings himself.
The persona.
The way he physically presents, he wears all these silver chains and bracelets, so he literally jangles when he walks into a room.
You hear him before you see him.
Exactly. And of course, the most iconic ritual of the entire brand, the wad of cash.
Oh, the wad of cash is such a fascinating detail because it actually traces back to a very specific moment in his childhood.
Wait, really? I didn't know that.
Yeah, when Rawlings was 13 years old, a family friend told him a piece of advice he never forgot. He said, "Son, you can buy a $10,000 car all day long for $5,000 if you have it in your pocket."
Wow. So he took that one piece of folksy Texas wisdom and turned it into his defining character trait for a global television franchise.
Every single episode, without fail, you see him standing in some dusty barn or on the hood of a rusted-out Mustang, physically counting out crisp $100 bills.
It is a visual ritual.
It is. But more importantly, it's a flaw.
A flaw.
Yeah, think about it. It's a little bit arrogant. It's obnoxious. It is decidedly not how a perfect, polished corporate executive operates.
And that is exactly why we watch. If you present a perfect, flawless business to the public one that always does everything right, always speaks in polite PR jargon, and never makes a mess. People might respect it, but they will never feel emotionally connected to it.
Yeah.
Perfection is like Teflon. Nothing sticks to it. Flaws are like Velcro.
That is exactly right. People do not follow businesses, they follow characters.
Okay.
And characters need defining traits. They need a uniform, they need a catchphrase, they need rituals.
It's like, think about comic book superheroes.
Well, good analogy.
People don't fall in love with a superhero's logistical efficiency or their business model for saving the city.
Nope.
Nobody cares how Batman funds the Batmobile. They fall in love with the cape.
Right.
They fall in love with Spider-Man's quips while he's fighting or Captain America's shield. They fall in love with the uniform, the catchphrase, and the specific trauma or flaw that makes them human. The flaw is what gives you a foothold to relate to them.
That is a brilliant analogy. And Rawlings also understood another crucial element of character engineering. A loud, flawed character desperately needs a foil.
You need contrast.
You need contrast. That is why Aaron Kaufman was so vital to the early success of Gas Monkey.
Right, because Rawlings was the hustler. He was the loudmouth salesman making crazy, impulsive deals, promising cars to buyers by impossible deadlines.
And Aaron was the quiet, heavily bearded, incredibly meticulous master mechanic. Aaron was the filter.
The voice of reason?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Rawlings would drag some absolute rusted-out pile of garbage into the shop, hyping it up, yelling about how they were going to make 50 grand on it.
Yeah.
And Aaron would just stand there, look at it, and calmly say, "Richard, this is a piece of junk. The frame is rotted. We can't build this."
It creates instant dramatic tension.
It does.
Because if you just have Richard yelling about money all the time, the audience gets exhausted.
Too much energy.
And if you just have Aaron quietly fixing cars, the audience gets bored. But together, it's a dynamic partnership. You have the visionary who pushes the boundaries and the craftsman who anchors it in reality.
Exactly. So applying this to Mickey in Spain, who is essentially a one-man digital operation right now.
How does he do that?
How does he engineer this level of character and ritual across his 3 brands when he's just one guy?
Well, he has to establish rigid, non-negotiable rituals that become his uniform.
Okay, give me an example.
Let's look at the music first. For Schmidt-Stall, the 150 BPM tempo can't just be a genre preference, it has to be a law.
It is the heartbeat of the brand.
Exactly. The audience needs to know that if they click on a Schmidt-Stall track, it will always, without fail, be exactly 150 BPM. The constraint itself becomes the character trait.
That's smart. And visually, he needs his version of the wad of cash.
Right.
What is the ritual the audience can anticipate every single time he posts?
Maybe every time he records a DJ set for YouTube, he's wearing the exact same distressed bomber jacket.
Yes.
Or whenever he drops a technical breakdown video for Cybernight Mike on LinkedIn, he always films it bathed in the exact same harsh hazard yellow lighting.
Or maybe there's a ritualistic phrase he uses to close out every single video. The point is, he has to commit to the bit.
Right, consistency is everything here.
If his B2B brand looks like everyone else's, he loses. But if he consistently shows up as this Cybernight, bathed in yellow light, backed by industrial techno, it just locks you in.
It really does.
You might think it's weird the first time you see it on your LinkedIn feed, but I guarantee you will never forget it.
But, having a memorable character and a great aesthetic is really only half the battle.
Oh, for sure.
The reality of being a digital creator is that you have to feed the beast. You have to produce content day after day, week after week, without burning out.
Which brings us to the operational mechanics of the business. You need a system, an assembly line.
Let's look at the Gas Monkey operating loop.
So Fast and Loud produced over 160 episodes across a decade, broadcasting in over 200 countries.
That is a staggering amount of television.
It is, and you do not achieve that kind of scale by waking up every morning and trying to reinvent the wheel. They utilized an exact, repeatable, 4-step formula for nearly every single episode.
Find, build, flip, profit.
Let's break that down. Step 1, find.
The hunt.
Right. Richard and Aaron go out into the Texas heat. They search through old barns or fields, find a forgotten classic car, and negotiate for it with cash.
Okay, step 2, build. They drag the rusted car back to the garage, and the crew has to restore it or customize it under an impossible, artificially compressed deadline.
Which is where all the sparks fly and the drama happens.
Exactly. Step 3, flip. They take the finished, gleaming hot rod to a high-end auction, or they try to sell it to a specific wealthy buyer.
And step 4, profit. They count the money, or, sometimes they lose money, which is also great TV, and the brand grows.
Find, build, flip, profit, over and over and over again.
It is the ultimate operating loop. So how does Mickey translate that physical hot rod loop into a digital content strategy across his 3 brands?
We map, find, build, flip, profit to dig, produce, drop, promote.
Okay, let's run a hypothetical scenario. Let's apply this loop specifically to his LinkedIn brand, Cyber Night Mike. How does he create a viral, highly converting B2B post using the Gas Monkey formula?
Okay, step 1, dig. This is the equivalent of Richard hunting for a car in a barn. For Mickey, the barn find is a digital vulnerability.
Right.
Let's say he uses a tool like Shodan, which is a search engine for internet-connected devices, to scan for vulnerabilities. In 2 minutes, he finds an exposed OpenRDP port on a corporate server.
And RDP meaning Remote Desktop Protocol, basically an open door for hackers.
Exactly. So he's done the dig. Step 2, produce. This is the build. He documents himself as the Cyber Knight, mapping out how to armor that specific vulnerability.
He shows his work.
Yes, he creates a clean, highly technical 3-step solution to close that port and secure the server.
Step 3, drop. This is the flip. He takes this breakdown and posts it on LinkedIn. But he doesn't just post a boring text article. He presents it as a transformation, a digital restoration project.
And step 4, promote. This is the profit. He shows the final, tangible result of his work.
What's the ROI?
Right. The post says, attack surface closed, cost to fix, $0, time spent, 20 minutes. He has instantly proven his immense value to any executive reading that post.
And here's where the ecosystem becomes truly brilliant. He can run that exact same 4-step loop for his music brand, Schmidtstahl.
Oh, this is the best part. Walk us through the music loop.
Okay. Step 1, dig. He needs raw material. So instead of a rusty Fender, he goes out and records the ambient noise of a real manufacturing factory. Or even better, he takes a data set of real firewall traffic logs and sonifies it, literally turning the data of a cyber attack into raw audio.
Which is such an insanely cool, authentic concept for industrial techno.
Isn't it? Step 2, produce. He takes those raw, chaotic factory sounds or server logs, brings them into his dark studio, and spends hours building a pounding 150 BPM track around them.
The build.
Yep. Step 3, drop. He masters the track and releases it on Spotify.
And step 4, promote. Oh, man. He takes that exact Schmidtstahl track and he uses it as the backing audio for the Cyber Night video where he is fixing the open server port on LinkedIn.
Yes. It is a closed, perfectly self-sustaining loop. The art feeds the corporate brand, and the corporate brand funds the art.
I have to play devil's advocate again, though.
Bring it on.
Because when you describe it like that, dig, produce, drop, promote, over and over, isn't highly formulaic content exactly what audiences are getting sick of right now?
Like they'll just get fatigued.
Yeah. If every single post Mickey makes follows that exact same structure, won't his LinkedIn followers and his music fans just get bored and scroll right past it?
It's a completely valid fear, and it's honestly why so many creators burn out trying to be endlessly original all the time.
Right, trying to reinvent the wheel every post.
But this fear stems from a misunderstanding of human psychology and media consumption. We have to draw a really hard line between repetitive content and a repetitive format.
Okay, unpack that distinction for me. What's the difference?
The format is just the container. The content is what actually goes inside the container.
Okay.
Think about the most successful television shows in history. Procedural dramas, Law & Order, House MD, or even Fast and Loud. The audience knows the exact structure of a Law & Order episode before the opening credits even finish.
That's true. A body is found, the detectives investigate, they catch a suspect at the 30-minute mark, there's a legal twist, and they go to trial.
Right. It's the exact same rhythm every single week for 20 years.
And yet, people watch hundreds of episodes. Why?
Because that structural reliability is actually a comfort to the viewer. It removes the cognitive friction of trying to figure out what kind of show they're watching.
Ah, I see.
The container is reliable, but the content, the specific crime, the specific disease, the specific rusty car, that is where the surprise lives.
So people aren't watching for structural surprises. They're watching for the transformation within the boundaries they already understand.
Exactly. They want to see the rusted metal turn into a gleaming hot rod. They want to see the chaotic cyber vulnerability turned into a secure fortress.
Right.
The reliability of Mickey's loop is actually what builds a daily addictive habit for his audience. When a CSO clicks on a Cyber Night Mike video, they know exactly what they're going to get. A high-energy, aesthetically pleasing, highly technical problem, and a very satisfying resolution.
That makes total sense. The format is the promise you make to the audience.
Yes.
Okay, so at this point in the deep dive, Mickey has his entire engine built. He has his Lincoln Press funding him. He has his archive of 100 podcasts.
He's got the history.
He has his 3 brands organized neatly under one roof. He has his industrial armor aesthetic, his character rituals, and his 4-step operating loop.
The machine is fully assembled on the factory floor. Now he just needs to turn the key and drive it out into the world.
Which brings us to the launch. How does he actually communicate this massive unified vision to an audience that might only know him for one specific thing?
Right, it could be jarring.
Yeah. How does he explain that the guy who interviewed them on a podcast a year ago is now a Cyberknight techno producer?
He executes what might be the most brilliant tactical move in this entire blueprint. He steals the strategy, and he does it completely out loud.
Yes. The meta playbook.
It's so good.
The launch strategy here isn't just like updating an Instagram bio or quietly changing a LinkedIn title.
No.
The blueprint dictates that Mickey creates a highly produced 5-episode podcast series titled The Monkey Garage Playbook: How Gas Monkey Built My Digital Empire.
We are going completely meta here. He is going to document his entire architectural business shift and use that documentation as his flagship piece of content.
Let's walk through the arc of this 5-part series because it essentially packages everything we've discussed today into a manifesto for his audience.
Let's do it.
Episode 1 is called The Print Shop.
In episode 1, he reveals the concept of funding the cool thing with the boring thing.
Lincoln Press.
Right. He openly talks about his client promo work and how it is the financial shield for Schmidtstall. This instantly makes him relatable to the thousands of creators and professionals out there who are currently stuck in day jobs, dreaming of their passion project.
Episode 2 is 8 Years of No. This is where he weaponizes his archive. He tells the story of Rawlings getting rejected by Hollywood, and then he points directly to his own 100 past podcast episodes.
The sizzle reel.
Exactly. He reframes his own grind as a badge of honor, turning his past into authority.
Episode 3 is Find, Build, Flip. He publicly breaks down his own operating loop. He tells his audience exactly how he's going to create content moving forward, essentially just giving away his trade secrets.
Episode 4 is Character over Craft. He justifies the aesthetic. He explains why he wears the armor, why the music is strictly 150 BPM, and why the visuals are hazard yellow and steel gray.
He explains the psychology of the SOC at 3 a.m.
And finally, Episode 5 is The Empire Beyond. He lays out the roadmap for the future. How this all connects to high-level speaking gigs, enterprise B2B consulting, and live techno events.
I absolutely love this meta strategy.
It's incredible. It reminds me of a magician.
How so?
It's like a magician going up on stage, performing an incredibly complex, mind-bending pickpocket routine, and then instead of taking a bow and just leaving, he pulls up a whiteboard.
Oh, I see where you're going.
Yeah, he does a 5-part lecture explaining exactly how he distracted your eyes, where he hid the watch, and the psychology behind the trick. And somehow, understanding the mechanics makes you respect his genius even more than the trick itself.
That is the exact psychological effect this launch has. But there's a very specific warning in this blueprint about how Mickey must frame this series.
What's the warning?
He cannot present it as a biography. He must present it as a heist.
A heist. Explain the difference there.
If he says, hey guys, listen to my new series, it's an inspiring tribute to the story of Richard Rawlings, he just sounds like a fanboy reading a Wikipedia page.
Boring.
Right. But if he frames it as, I am actively stealing these 5 strategic moves from a Dallas hot rod shop to aggressively build my own digital empire in Spain, he completely changes his positioning.
He becomes dangerous.
Yes, he becomes a dangerous, proactive student of business strategy.
And think about who his target demographic is for his most lucrative brand, Cyberknight Mike. He is trying to attract executives, CISOs, people who control massive corporate budgets.
The big fish.
By laying bare his entire architectural blueprint, he is demonstrating an incredibly high-level intellect. An executive listening to that podcast isn't going to think, oh, this guy's just a weird techno DJ.
Not at all.
They are going to think, this guy understands systems, he understands leverage, branding, and structural architecture on a master level. I absolutely want him looking at my network security.
Exactly. He maintains the gritty, authentic edge of the underground artist while simultaneously proving he possesses boardroom-level strategic dominance. It builds immense trust.
And the blueprint even scripts out the launch trailer for this podcast series to maximize that impact.
Oh yeah, the trailer's key.
It's designed to be exactly 38 seconds long. No fluff. It's a barrage of rapid cuts. You see raw, shadowy footage of Mickey in his dark studio in Spain, violently juxtaposed with bold text flashing on the screen describing a filthy 1,200 square foot garage in Texas.
That's all about the contrast.
And the captions are burned into the video in that stark steel gray and hazard yellow.
And underneath it all, driving the rhythm of every single video cut, is a pounding, aggressive Schmidt-style techno track.
It's a multi-sensory assault. It immediately forces the audience to experience the new world order of his brand before they even process what he's saying.
It is the flawless execution of the entire philosophy we've been discussing today. It introduces you to the founder, it establishes the visual aesthetic of the corporate consulting arm, and it literally uses the underground art as the pulse of the marketing.
3 doors, 1 roof.
3 doors, 1 roof.
So as we pull back and look at this massive, sweeping architecture we've explored today, from the Texas heat to the Spanish techno bunker, how do we summarize the ultimate takeaway? What is the core truth of the Gas Monkey blueprint for a modern creator?
The foundational truth, the absolute core of this entire model is this. You do not monetize views. You monetize what the views believe about you.
That is so important. Say that one more time for the people in the back.
You do not monetize views. You monetize what the views believe about you.
Yes.
Richard Rawlings did not build a global empire by relying on television advertising revenue. The TV show was just the vehicle. He built an empire because millions of people watched that show and fundamentally believed that he represented a specific, authentic, badass lifestyle.
And because they believed that, they wanted to buy a piece of it.
Exactly. They bought the t-shirts, they drank the beer, they went to the restaurants.
And mapping that to our digital creator, Mickey doesn't need to try and get rich off Spotify fractions of a penny per stream for his techno.
Which is impossible anyway.
Exactly. And he doesn't need to monetize podcast downloads with generic mattress ads. He needs those platforms to build a world.
The ecosystem.
He needs his audience to consume that content and genuinely believe that he is the definitive, armored, highly strategic voice in cybersecurity. And when they believe that, they don't buy a t-shirt, they hire his consulting firm for a 6-figure B2B contract.
The 3 brands, 1 roof model is the ultimate proof that you do not have to fragment your identity.
You don't have to choose.
No, you don't have to choose between your highly lucrative corporate skills and your deeply personal artistic passions. You just have to have the vision to build the right aesthetic roof over all of them.
You have to find that bridge.
You have to find that emotional resonance, like the crushing pressure of a cyber attack and the heavy pulse of industrial techno, that unites them into a single, cohesive universe.
This has been such an incredible journey to map out. But before we wrap up this deep dive, I want to leave you, the listener, with one final provocative thought.
Let's hear it.
We've spent this whole time analyzing high-level brand architecture, operating loops, and meta-marketing strategies. But underneath all of the business theory, there is a deeply personal, almost vulnerable lesson in this playbook.
There really is. It's about how we view our own starting lines.
Right. Think all the way back to the very beginning of this story. Richard Rawlings was operating out of a miserable, dirty, 1,200 square foot shop with no heat, no AC, and no running water.
It was objectively a terrible place to run a business.
Exactly. And most people, if they were in that situation, would be deeply embarrassed by it.
They'd hide it.
They would try to hide it. They would tell themselves, I can't start filming my content yet. I can't launch my brand yet. I need to wait until I secure venture capital and build a pristine $1 million facility with gleaming white floors. Then I'll be ready.
But Rawlings didn't do that.
He didn't. He treated that dirty, sweaty, broken down room like a global television set from day one.
Yeah.
He didn't apologize for his reality. He weaponized it. He made the grit the entire point of the brand.
He leaned into the flaw, and the flaw became his greatest asset.
So here's the question I want you to mull over today as you look at your own projects.
Okay.
What is the miserable little garage in your own life right now? What is the podcast, the business idea, the music, or the art that you are hiding from the world because you have convinced yourself it isn't polished enough yet?
We all have one.
We do. Who are you waiting for to hand you permission to start? Because the reality is the polish isn't what people connect with. The flaw is the feature. So what would happen if you stopped apologizing for your 1,200 square foot garage and just started filming?
Build the set. Don't wait for the studio. Just invite them to the show.
Exactly. Start building.